Hello and welcome to an episode of Historically Marked. This is a fast food episode, and yes, I'll be taking you to the site of the first Wendy's. Notice how I said the site, as the original restaurant is not there anymore. But I will also be taking you to the Wendy's Museum in Dublin, Ohio. So check out this fun-filled episode. Here we go. So the park I'm standing in right now is the Discovery Park. Obviously, it is about education. It is the first park developed specifically to honor Ohio's public educators. Huh, well, you know, there's this little stream going on there. Here is the marker for site of Wendy's first restaurant, which is right here. This is where the Catholic Foundation is now. So about the first Wendy's restaurant. Dave Thomas realized his boyhood dream when he opened his first hamburger restaurant on his site on November 15th, 1969. Thomas changed the image of fast food by serving fresh, not frozen hamburgers hot off the grill with a choice of toppings in a clean, comfortable setting. From this location, Wendy's became one of the largest restaurant chains in the world. It all began with Thomas's guiding principle, quality is our recipe, and his dream of serving a hot and juicy hamburger. Placed here in 2007. Now I believe it was either that year or the year after that it was torn down. I'll put a picture of it on the screen. Dave Thomas was very modest. I mean, he had a very successful, hard-working life, and he got some fame out of it. And of course, Wendy's is still one of the biggest fast food chains in the world. As of 2018, it is the third largest one in the United States. But Dave lived modestly. He would tell people, well, I'm not really that special. I'm just a guy that makes hamburgers. But he did spend most of his life in the restaurant industry. As a matter of fact, Colonel Sanders was one of his mentors. He got one of his starts in the business when he was a busser at Kentucky Fried Chicken. And Sanders saw a lot of potential in him, and he knew he was going to be successful. So I'm going to take you to the flagship Wendy's store. It's 10 miles northwest of here. This is downtown Columbus. So I'll meet you there. Now I am at the flagship location. That's what it's called, not the first location. Now the corporate headquarters is supposedly somewhere across the street there. It's on Dave Thomas Boulevard, but all I see are a bunch of brand new upscale buildings. Who knows, it could be hidden. But now I'm going to take you to this Wendy's restaurant / museum, and we're greeted by Mr. Thomas himself, just the way I remember him, seeing those commercials. And I remember, I mean, I'm old enough to remember those commercials. I forgot what year he passed away. Well, I'll find out in there. But yeah, I do remember he did those. He was the face of the company. I mean, besides his daughter, who, yeah, is right up there. But here he is delivering his Frosty and Wendy's. Here we go. All right, now we're gonna go in. Welcome to Real, welcome to Fresh, welcome to Wendy's in Dublin. That's where you order, right over there. But over here, it says a little something about Dave Thomas, the founder. Wendy's began as the boyhood dream of Dave Thomas, founder and Wendy's dad. He devoted his entire career to making and serving a better hamburger. Dave opened the first Wendy's in November 1969 in downtown Columbus, Ohio. He named the restaurant after one of his daughters, 8-year-old Wendy. Known for serving fresh, 100% beef square hamburgers served hot off the grill and topped with their choice of condiments, Wendy's quickly grew to be one of the largest quick service chains in the world. A lot has changed since 1969, but we still live by Dave's motto, quality is our recipe, every day. And over here, and just right in front of it, is where all the locations are. And yes, Wendy's is an international brand, or global, I guess. Wendy's first restaurant established in 1969. I'm guessing that definitely came from literally from the original location. Oops. And I mean, yeah, there is some memorabilia here, but it's mostly just photos and just stuff that talks about the history of Wendy's and why is Diddy, the newly disgraced rapper, on there. Okay. Tiffany lamps helped complete the old-fashioned decor of the early Wendy's restaurants. Oh, very interesting. Kind of reminds me of Pizza Hut, you know what I mean? Okay, so on November 15th, 1969, Dave Thomas opened the first Wendy's serving singles, doubles, triples, fries, and Frosty. And it's kind of interspersed with like pop culture events like Vietnam, Woodstock, Man on the Moon. Now I don't remember the animated commercials for Wendy's like this one, but I've seen it on YouTube where the dancing hamburgers and the singing Wendy. 1977, Wendy's goes national with television commercials, making it the first chain with less than 1,000 restaurants to launch a national advertising campaign. 1984 was the famous Where's the Beef? It stars Clara Peller and sidekicks Elizabeth Shaw and Mildred Lane. Where's the Beef was voted one of the most popular commercials of all time. And if I'm not mistaken, of course, I was too young to remember because I was like 3 years old in '84, but I think it was one of the catchphrases in the presidential race that year, but I could be wrong. And here's some more information down here. The first Wendy's training center was in 1972. The first international Wendy's was in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada in 1975. It was here in Dublin, Ohio, the Wendy's headquarters opens. The 1,000th Wendy's was in Springfield, Tennessee. And they did that within 100 months. They opened 1,000 restaurants. That's industry record. 1979, first national fast food chain to offer a salad bar. And now here's some more history for you. 1992, Dave Thomas establishes the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption, a public charity with one goal: help every child in foster care find a permanent, loving home. And down here, 1995, Wendy's merges with Tim Hortons, a Canadian restaurant chain. Tim Hortons becomes a subsidiary of Wendy's and is spun off as a separate company in late 2006. I see a lot of those here in Ohio, but they actually tried opening a few locations back home in St. Louis area and they all failed, I'm sorry to say. 2001, Wendy's opens the 6,000th restaurant located in Tijuana, Mexico. 2008, Wendy's and Arby's merge, creating a new public company called the Wendy's/Arby's Group Incorporated. Arby's was spun off in 2011, creating the Wendy's Company. And then in 2011, Wendy's re-energizes its burger lineup, making them thicker, hotter, and juicier, and naming them after our founder, such as Dave's Hot and Juicy Cheeseburgers. And the year before that, the new Natural Cut Fries debut. And also that same year, a bold, innovative restaurant design took place. 2012, Wendy's launches a brand transformation initiative to contemporize the brand and improve the customer experience. Now, let's not forget that, the last 25 years, fast food restaurants have endlessly transformed themselves because there's been a lot of movements. The health food movement, vegetarian movement, lots of other things. So they're trying to keep up with the times, okay? So it's kind of complicated because even though they're probably all allies behind closed doors, they're definitely trying to keep up with the American landscape. Otherwise, go broke or go home. Or I forgot how you say that. And then we're going to take a look at some pictures. The early days. I know it's really hard to see with the sun in the background. And these are all the menu items that we're all familiar with. And going back to that super bar, I'm surprised it doesn't really mention it, but it did last majority of the 1990s. And I remember going there a couple times, and yeah, it was like a buffet. That was something that was unheard of at a fast food restaurant, especially a nationwide one. But I do remember, yes, there was a salad bar, potato bar, there was even pizza there. Yeah, if you remember the Wendy's Super Bar, I would like to hear about it in the comments. I know I'm leaving out a few other major things too. I don't think there was any burgers or fries on there, but then again, what do I know? Here is the international aspect of Wendy's. From the Bahamas, Japan, the Philippines, El Salvador. Wow, look at the one in Japan. And as mentioned, Wendy's never failed in advertising, especially with the Where's the Beef woman. And I did not even know there was a board game about it either. And here is Wendy herself. Now, from what I hear, she does own a franchise or two in the company, which, yeah, it's very fitting. This is pretty much about the man himself, the founder, the friend, the patriarch. Some early photos of his when he was on the Today Show with him and some famous people such as Muhammad Ali, George Bush, actually George W. Bush and George H.W. Bush, the Clintons, Ronald Reagan, and some books about him. Whoever makes the Funko Pop for Dave, now's your chance to. If you make Funko Pops, yeah, now's a chance to earn your fame. And this is the charitable side, the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption. Really nice. And lastly, Dave Thomas, the Olympic torchbearer, 1996, when the Olympic Games were hosted in Atlanta. But the torch passed through here, and down here it's the $105,000 hamburger made to order. Wow. It was purchased at a Wendy's auction for $105,000 by Wen partners Louis Topper and Jeff Coughlin, longtime Wendy's franchisees, who presented it as a gift to the company for display at our world headquarters. Very nice. And here is a replica of the original seating area. And I think I do remember back in the 80s or early 90s, they had like the classic newspaper print. All right, thanks so much for tuning into this episode, Fast Food Edition, another one. And I hope you learned a lot about Wendy's. So next time you go to Wendy's, remember, or if you're in the Columbus, Ohio area, just make sure you go up north to Dublin and check out the museum while you're here. All right, I'm Jason, signing off.